happy freaking Halloween, my friends. It is in no better fashion that we will celebrate this Halloween day with good old-fashioned shoulder workout. I mean, might as well get some spooky shoulders in and then, I'm just, but anyways, we got shoulders today, so it's going to be quite a bit of fun. Shoulders is, at least as far as my physique goes, it is not what we need to work on that much, but they're pretty fun to hit. It's just nice to kind of let your strengths be highlighted sometimes. So I'm definitely looking forward to having a good old-fashioned shoulder day. I think what most people are looking for with shoulders is kind of that rounded out rear delt look. So most of the time we start off our shoulder days with some type of pulling movement, just to kind of get the rear delts fired up, and then also kind of just give the whole posterior chain kind of a warm-up before you get into a big old shoulder day. And it's kind of the same logic with, like hitting a lat pull down before like a bench session. Like you're just warming up your back and your lats, and then you can just go freaking ham on those on your chest. So that being said, I have no clue what we have going on today. It's just kind of show up and see what's gonna happen. All I know is that we're gonna go freaking ham on anything and everything shoulders. I think we always have a trap movement. We always have some sort of front delt movement, whether that's kind of like a press or like a raise or whatever. And then we have some type of medial delt movement, whether that's like a side raise or even like a press, because a press, can go one of two ways. You can get a lot of activation with either your front delt or your medial delt. Just kind of depends on how you hit it. But anyways, that is the freaking plan for today. As far as the meditations are going, those are a lot of fun. We're we're kind of testing the waters with just going all in on just concentrating on the mantra, and I've only done one meditation total of doing it that kind of way and not really paying attention to anything else. And man, just in the one meditation that I had this morning of just focusing on the mantra, nothing else, amazing results. I mean, I was just freaking locked in. It was just like blissful concentration city. It was just extremely easy to concentrate, effortless, and all I needed to do was just keep redirecting. And anytime I was like, oh man, like your prefrontal cortex is really working there, buddy, I'm concentrating on something else. So I just kept going back to the mantra, and a ton of thoughts would pop up, but it's not a matter of what pops up, it's just a matter of how you respond. So that was a freaking eye-opener this morning. But anyways, that was pretty freaking short. Sorry, we had there's a lot of traffic here, so a lot of people are, and it's coming right off the freeway too, so a lot of people are just speeding up and then slowing down real quick. So that being said, anyways, I think my lady is going to meet me at the gym, so it's going to be a lot of fun. She's bringing in some donuts from her work, and so I think today is going to be a little bit of a donut pump. I mean, I was planning on having today be a high day, and I even threw in, just a little extra carbs into the meals that we had going on, just to kind of give more of a full look, because I mean, last check-ins, last Friday, man, that was freaking, we were at 211.2, and this check-in was 205.6, so we dropped almost 6 pounds. That was pretty freaking crazy. But anyways, that is pretty much the whole reason for why we're doing a major refeed today. I mean, 3 reasons really. It's Halloween, 1. I'm dropping weight really fast, 2. And 3, because I freaking can. That is definitely a muscle that we don't exercise enough. Jeez, that's pretty illegal. Just a guy driving on the side of that's not a lane. All right, buddy. Well, whatever. Man, he must really be in a rush. But anyways, that's pretty much freaking it. It is a good old-fashioned Halloween day shoulder pump. So I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, I'll see y'all in there. All right, so I would say we've made it to, I guess, the precipice of all shoulder movements other than overhead press. Because shrugs, I mean, I guess it's the precipice just because you can go freaking heavy with these. But we haven't gotten to 365 in weeks. We've just been sitting at like 315, sometimes 335, sometimes 345, but never threw on that 25. So this is getting me a little giddy. Just at least attempting this weight. So anyways, that is a freaking plan right now, just to go wild. But anyways, so let's go crazy. Oh God. Woo. That was pretty heavy. That's exactly where we want to be though. I usually don't go super heavy on side raises, but there's a time and place for everything. So since this is the 4th set, I think this is a good time to, really see how strong my side raise capability has become. So, I mean, especially on a cut, this is gonna be freaking awesome. But that being said, man, side raises mainly for squeezing. We save a lot of the heavy pressing for like standing military press or like a shrug, but might as well test your strength in every movement. It has been many a minute since I've tested out my max amount of lifts on overhead press, and man, I mean, on a bulk, totally different. You have tons of carbs flowing through you. Everything's fine and dandy when it comes to strength, but on a cut, this is when it's going to be extra fun. And I figured, why not test it on the day that I have the most amount of carbs in my system on a cut? So that being said, goal is 11, but man, we haven't tested 135 in a freaking minute. So this is gonna be interesting to say the least. Oh. Oh. Yep. Oh. Ah. Oh my God. Ooh. Alright, that wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. I'll let the donut take all the credit. We got 12 reps. I think I'd have to go back and look at it, but man, that was freaking solid. Decent shoulder day, to say the least. There was a lot in that I gotta say is just really rounded out my shoulders, you know. I actually took some of Sam Sulik's advice with the warm-up going into it, so I didn't show this, but I was doing a little bit of curls, doing some tricep pushdowns, doing some shrug work, and then I think a little bit, I just mixed that all in with the face pulls, like the first few sets. So it definitely, I noticed that it made a huge difference, especially in those last few standing shoulder press sets, because I was kind of getting to the very end, but it kind of made it just a little bit easier to get into the form, and then, you know, finally the press. So that being said, it's like I always say, it's one thing to feel it, but it's another thing to see how it looks. So let's see. Alright, so I've kind of switched up the posing just a little bit, just a hair. Instead of doing, you know, kind of leaning to one side, doing like either like a front double bicep or, man, even like an ab and thigh shot. You kind of like, I used to lean to one side, flex one leg. I'm trying to do both legs at the same time because it just feels, for me, it's mainly the balance that I gain from it. You know, it just feels a little more symmetrical on both sides because, you know, for years I was competing in men's physique and I was going here and this was the pose. You know, I would just over and over and over again. So I kind of got used to that stance of just being like this. But now, I don't know, just having like a more even keeled stance of just doing this and then coming up. I feel like it's a lot easier to see the symmetry in my physique. So I don't know, it probably won't make too much of a difference, but you know, small things add up over time. So I think just doing it again and again and again, posing after these sessions, it'll make a pretty big difference once we get to, you know, the big show day. So that being said, that is about freaking it for shoulders today. We're gonna go hit it. We're gonna have our post-workout shake, hit a meditation, and then enjoy the Halloween night. But that being said, have a great night, my friends. Stay safe out there. But great to see y'all. Happy Halloween.